Jared here with carbuzz.com, and today I'm going to be reviewing the totally redesigned 2019 Ram 1500 Limited, which is the top trim of the Ram lineup. Now, this Ram has quite a big job to do. Not only does it have to contend with the most luxurious of other vehicles on the road, it has to deal with the might of the Chevy Silverado and the Ford F-150, because the Ram has always been third in the pickup truck sales race. Can this new redesigned Ram 1500 finally take on the gauntlet of being the best truck in America? We're going to go ahead and find out. But before we take it on the road, if you'd like to see the best deals on the 2019 Ram 1500, be sure to click in the link below or click right here to see those deals. And now let's go ahead and get this Ram out on the road. So from behind the wheel, Ram has managed to do something that I think is very impressive with this 1500 Limited, and that is make it feel like a smaller vehicle than it really is. Because of course, this thing is massive. You're not fooling anybody with its size and proportions, but the way it steers, the way it rides, all of those sort of things makes it feel like a smaller vehicle than it really is. I'm going around a turn now. The steering is very light. It's very vague, as you'd expect from a truck, but I think it's less so than some of the other full-size trucks that I've driven. I really do think the steering is good enough that even if you're coming from a car or an SUV, you're not going to be thrown for a loop driving this truck, and that cannot be said of some of the Ram's competition. The ride is very cushiony. It's still, you're going to float all over the place when you go over bumps. That's just sort of a pickup truck thing that's sort of inescapable, but the air suspension on this, when you're going over a normal road, just sort of glides. It's really smooth. I really like it. I haven't been in any pickup truck that is as comfortable as this truck over rough surfaces. Now, there's three engine options. We have the middle engine, a 5.7 liter V8. It's a carryover from last year. It's going to get you 395 horsepower, 410 foot-pounds of torque. Your fuel economy there is going to be 15 in the city, 21 on the highway, 17 combined. You're going to be able to tow a little over 6,200 pounds with this 4x4 limited trim. Of course, this isn't the best Ram for towing. There's other models if you want that. This is more of the luxurious model. And that's going to be mated to this 8-speed automatic transmission. I'm going to go ahead and show you some acceleration now as I bring it to a halt. Let's see how this thing accelerates. You've got that nice grunty engine, really smooth gear shifts from this 8-speed. I haven't had a chance to sample Ford or GM's new 10-speed. I've heard they're really good, but this 8-speed does the job extremely well. You can limit your gears here for towing, but there's no paddle shifters. There's no things like that. Anybody that asked me whether I would buy this or an F-150 Raptor, the two aren't really comparable. Yeah, the Raptor has 50 more horsepower than this. It's turbocharged. It's much sportier. There's really not a lot of comparison there. And I mentioned that this is an optional engine. It's about $1,200. The base engine is going to be a V6, believe it or not, a 3.6 liter, and it's actually a hybrid. So it's a mild hybrid, meaning it has a small electric motor. It's not like a Prius. It's more of to do things like start, stop, and regen braking and things like that. It's good for 305 horsepower, 269 foot-pounds of torque, but the e-torque system, which is what Ram calls its hybrid system, can add up to 359 foot-pounds of torque in short bursts, and that is going to be your best fuel economy option with 19 mpg in the city, 24 on the highway, and 21 combined. A little bit better than this V8 option, although obviously you're not getting quite as much power or towing capacity. There's also a hybrid version of this V8 with the e-torque system. That's going to be $2,600 instead of $1,200. And the benefit there is you're going to get the same amount of horsepower, but in certain instances, it's going to be able to deliver up to 540 foot-pounds of torque. You're also going to get a little bit of improved fuel economy. You're going to get about 2 better in fuel economy over everything. So you're going to get 17 mpg in the city, 22 on the highway, and 19 combined. Of course, these are all based on a 4-wheel drive model. You can get rear-wheel drive if going off-road is not important to you. And I haven't had a chance chance to sample the e-torque system. I've heard it works really well in start-stop situations. I'm never a big fan of start-stop, but this one apparently works really well because it has that hybrid system to start up the truck when you move off from the stop. I'd really like to go sample it, so when you test drive, you might want to drive both. I have trouble believing that it's really worth $1,400 more than this regular V8, given that it only gets you a couple of mpg more than this Ram. So I'm a little bit hesitant, but you're going to have to go ahead and make that determination for yourself. Other than the engine options, I would say this V8 one is probably the one that I would go with, and this limited trim is by far the one that I prefer. I'm more of a light-duty truck user. I don't need as much towing or off-road capability, so the luxury features of this truck are what I gravitate towards the most, and we're going to go ahead and pull over so that I can show you some of those luxury features. Okay, so now we're inside the Ram 1500, where I'm going to show you the interior, which is one of the strongest points of this limited trim. So for starters, we have this nice real wood interior. It's got these sort of lines on it. I think it's really nice looking. All of it is real wood. It actually feels like real wood as well, and you have that meshed with this sort of metallic-y mesh material here on the dashboard. That also feels really nice in quality. All of the buttons are these gloss black ones, and then you have these nice metallic buttons for things like the volume and for the gear selector. They also feel really well and good quality. Now moving over here to the steering wheel is big and chunky. My hands don't really fit on it, but perhaps yours will. It's not my favorite shape for a steering wheel, but it is very nicely appointed with this nice thick leather. You also have the wood material on the top and bottom. Some people might not like having two materials on the steering wheel. I think it's fine. It's also a heated steering wheel as well. One thing I noticed, it did start to squeak down here while I was driving it, but it seems to have gone away just by itself, which is pretty good. The gauges are really clear and concise. I think they are great. Really nice design here. Ram has done this sort of silver backsplash with a blue, giving it a nice luxurious look. The center helper screen is very helpful. So it's large and displays information incredibly well. You have things like your outside temperature, your range, your oil temperature, your voltage, what gear you're in, where your air suspension is set, your fuel economy, which is what I have it set to, the status of your lane keep assist, and then you can change it. You can have it show your trip info, your trailer information, your audio, things like that. The way that Ram has sort of parceled the information on the screen so that it shows you the most accurate information all at once, just at a glance, is excellent. I think that this is one of the best center helper screens that I've tested, especially in a truck. Now let's move over to the gear selector. You'll notice it's this silver rotary style shifter. Means you just put your foot on the brake and twist it into drive. That's how you engage it. Some people don't love this. They'd rather have a big manly stick to shift gears or one on the column here. I think it's fine. I think everybody that has a complaint with this is maybe just complaining for the sake of complaining. They also like to say that, oh, it's too close to the volume knob, that, oh, you're going to be wanting to lower the volume and you'll accidentally shift into neutral. I think if you do that, you probably don't deserve to be driving a car. It's pretty easy to recognize that this is a much bigger shift knob and this one's a further away, and it says volume on it right there. You may notice when I toss it into reverse, I get this 360-degree camera. It's one of the best I've tested, not just in a truck. Unlike some cheaper units, it doesn't piece and stitch together the lines with these little corners. It is one continuous image. It's clear, it's concise. The coloring on it is fantastic. If you're backing up and you see like a red car in the background, it really looks red. It's great. You can even change the camera views around to get different views of it. It is one of the best backup cameras I've tested, and because it's 360 degrees like this, it makes parking this large truck extremely easy. You may also notice that when I pull up that rear view camera, I have all of these controls here. Since this is the fully loaded limited trim, we have a ton of options here. We have heated and ventilated seats, both in the front and rear, which is rare for luxury vehicles, especially in the pickup truck segment. I have my heated steering wheel that I can turn on and off. I can trigger the surround view camera. I can even dim the mirror. I can deploy my running boards. It'll tell me when I get a text message on the screen. I absolutely adore this screen. This is the larger of the two screens that you can get. The smaller is an 8.4 inch. It's sort of the normal Uconnect system. This is the larger one that you can only get in this Ram for now, although I feel like this is going to make its way to other FCA vehicles. You can adjust the temperature here. I'm going to go ahead and put it on its main menu. Here's the home button. So what you can do is you can parcel it into two pieces. You can have your map up top, you can have your radio at the bottom, you can have the whole screen be the map if you'd prefer that. Absolutely massive. You may notice if I zoom in, I have a lake near my house. You can actually see the water moving on the map. It's this attention to detail that Ram has just done such a good job with. This screen, it's so easy to use, it's so responsive. I've tested a similar screen on the Toyota Prius Prime, and it was large like this, but it was a little more annoying because there was no volume knob, there was no tuning knob, and you couldn't just, okay, I'm going to lower the fan speed to 0, I'm going to lower the temperature here. You have these quick buttons that if you just need to do something like that, it's quick, and you don't have to go into climate and adjust it that way. And that was just really smart on Ram's front to do that. Up here, we also have a parking button, which is extremely interesting. I tried it out. It will actually parallel park the truck for you, and it does work. I've actually done it. It's extremely surprising that it does work, but it helps you if you're not that confident in parking a large truck like this. So I really enjoy that as well. And the screen is just extremely customizable. You may notice, like your iPhone, you have these ribbon of buttons down here. Those can be customized. So if I go into apps, these are all of the apps that you have on this screen here. And if I just want one, like surround view camera, I can just grab it and drag it down there, and it'll stay there forever for easy access. Now down here, I have my tow trailer controls. I haven't really done any towing with this car. And then I have these awesome toggle switches. You can turn off the front and rear parking sensors independently. Really helpful if you're trailering something to not have it go beep, 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 beep to let you know there's something behind you when, of course, you already know that. You can put it in towing mode, turn off the traction control. This is for your air suspension, so you can raise and lower the vehicle. It has a bunch of different settings. It has an exit and entry mode to make it easy to get in and out of. You have your normal mode, you have your aero mode, which makes it a little better for highway fuel economy, and then you have an off-road setting. And since Ram decided to use that rotary shifter, what that does is it frees up a ton of room in the center console. So we have this nice adorned limited armrest here. You lift that up and you get some storage here along with a USB port. If I use the other handle, I can lift it up, and then it goes really deep down here. You've got some interesting little things here. You've got tan, cosine, sin, all of those sort of things. You've got your Pythagorean theorem. I'm not sure why Ram decided to include this on the back of the armrest, but I think it's really funny. This actually slides, so you can move this. You have a ton of deep storage below. These flip up, so you have some storage here. You have your cup holders here. You even further along here have your wireless charger. You can mount your phones in here. Really easy to just stick your phone on it, and it wireless charges as well on this limited trim. This is an absolutely massive and flexible storage solution here, and of course these pickup trucks are known for this. The other thing that this Ram Limited is known for is it has a ton of storage in a lot of other places, as most pickup trucks do, and here on Car Buzz we like to show you all of them. Of course, now that I'm back here, the back seat of this Ram is best in class when it comes to legroom. It has over 42 inches of it, and I have the front seat moved up, of course, for filming purposes, but even in a normal position, you just have so much space back here. These seats, this leather is extremely soft and really cushy. I love it. The other thing that these seats can do is, if I grab right here, I can recline back. So one of the biggest problems with pickup trucks is when you sit in the back, you're very upright on your back. This one, you can lean back into it and the whole seat kind of slides down to recline. It makes it really easy to sit back here for a long period of time. This being a pickup truck, it also has some handy storage capabilities as well. You can lift that up, so now you have some hidden storage underneath here, and I can go ahead and fold that back really easily, no problems at all. If I sit on either side, I do have an armrest here. You simply pull it down, gets rid of your middle seat obviously, but you have two cup holders back here, and then you have some handy storage in there as well. Riding back here is also pretty nice. You have two cup holders here, you have the cup holders in there, you have two USB ports as well as two USB-Cs here in the center console, as well as a household outlet. And then I have controls for my heated and ventilated seats. There are a lot of luxury cars that I drive with six-figure price tags that don't have ventilated seats in the back, but this does. You may be able to hear them now. They're pretty loud. That's the one disadvantage. The ventilated seats work really well, but the blowers in them, the fans, are extremely loud. Other than that, this interior is absolutely fantastic. I've got these beautiful Harman Kardon speakers, 19 of them around the cabin. That's part of a package, but I adore this cabin. This is, I believe, best in class when it comes to pickup trucks. And before I leave this interior, I wanted to mention one thing I don't think I've ever mentioned in a review, but I think it's worth noting because it may be one of the most understated but interesting features of this Ram 1500. You may or may not get it on yours, so if you are shopping, make sure you do opt for this. I'm going to pick this up right now. This is the floor mat back here. It is a rubber and cloth mix. Really interesting here. So you have this rubberized mat, which is great for when you're in winter months, when you're getting snow on it, dirt, things like that. You can wash them off. But it also has this carpet, which is a little bit fancier and dressier. But when that carpet gets dirty, you can kind of take it out, it unbuckles, and then you're just left with a rubber floor mat that you can just wash out. It is one of the most cleverly designed floor mats I think I've ever seen. Bravo, Ram, for thinking of it. Now that we've covered the interior pretty extensively, let's talk about the most important thing when it comes to a truck, the bed. If I go ahead and push this button twice, opens automatically. It's nice and damped, so I can go ahead and sit on this. It's a bit high for me to sit on, but of course we have air suspension that can raise and lower the vehicle. It's a pretty light tailgate. It's not quite as light as the one on the Chevy Silverado, but it is damped pretty well, so it is pretty easy to lift. You have plenty of bed space here. Ram sent me this tonneau cover, which is a bit annoying. It shakes, but it does cover the bed if that's what you want to do. Some people like and have their own tonneau covers that they like to use. I'm sure you have one that you prefer if you are actually watching this video. And while we're on the outside of the Ram, let's go ahead and talk about the styling, because I think this is a very handsome truck. So from the side, I think this is also a really handsome looking truck. It has some nice elements, like you have the chrome strip going down the side, you have the Ram 1500 Hemi logo on the hood there, looks real aggressive. You have these 20-inch wheels. You can actually get 22s that look even better. I thought these 20s didn't look good in pictures, and then I saw them in person, and now I think they actually look great. You have the air suspension here, which can actually be controlled from the key fob. So if I go ahead and push this twice, it'll flash, and then you'll see it lowers it down. It squats down to make it easier to get in and out of. It's a really nice feature to get in and out of this truck if you're a smaller person. Even if you're a bigger person, you just don't have to climb up into your truck quite as much. I really enjoy this feature, and I think that a lot of people are going to use this a lot. See how low it gets? It almost looks like it's a car now. It's so low, the wheel gap basically disappeared. Really neat feature, and I love that on this Ram 1500 Limited trim. And for just under $65,000, the Ram 1500 is no cheap date, but I do see some full-size pickup trucks that are even more expensive than that, but they don't offer the same style, luxury, all of those sort of accoutrements as this Ram 1500. Judging by the way it drives, the way it looks, that awesome 12.1-inch touchscreen display, I'm going to give the Ram 1500 a rating of must buy. I think this is the best full-size pickup truck on the market. And if you'd like this video and you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe to the CarBuzz YouTube channel and download our app on iOS and Android to keep up with the latest and greatest in automotive news, and be sure to see more reviews just like this one. Hope you've enjoyed the video. See you next time.